Some animals look so unnatural that people think they're fake, but these creatures are 100% real, and science still struggles to explain how they evolved this way. Nature clearly has no limits. Join us and let's discover the strangest animals on Earth that don't even look natural. Let's go.
Number 13. Bobbit worm. Buried beneath tropical seafloors worldwide lurks something straight out of a horror film. A worm that can grow longer than most people are tall, equipped with jaws that snap shut with enough force to slice fish in half. The bobbit worm, known in scientific circles as Unis aphroditis, is an ambush predator that makes great white sharks look straightforward by comparison. Most of its segmented body stays hidden under sand or coral rubble, sometimes stretching 10 feet long, while only its rainbow-colored antennae and those nightmarish mandibles peek out from the burrow entrance. These jaws work like bear traps covered in venom, and when something edible swims too close, the worm erupts from the sand faster than human eyes can follow. The strike happens in milliseconds, and the prey often gets severed immediately or dragged underground before it even realizes what happened. Each segment of the worm's body has bristles that help it grip the tunnel walls, making it nearly impossible to pull out if you somehow grabbed it. The iridescent sheen on its exoskeleton creates an almost beautiful effect that completely contradicts the violence of its hunting style. Aquarium owners have accidentally introduced these worms into their tanks, only discovering them months later when fish start disappearing mysteriously. The toxin injected through those jaws doesn't just immobilize the victim, it starts breaking down tissue for easier digestion. What makes this creature even more unsettling is its ability to regenerate lost segments, meaning even if a predator manages to bite off a chunk, the bobbit worm just grows it back and continues its subterranean reign of terror.
Number 12. Pacific barrel-eye fish. Swimming in the pitch-black depths of the Pacific Ocean lives a fish with a completely transparent head, and through that clear dome, you can watch its eyes rotating like optical turrets. The barrel-eye fish, scientifically called Macropinna microstoma, has a face that looks like someone mounted it backwards and forgot to finish the job. That green transparent skull isn't just for show either. Inside that fluid-filled dome sit two barrel-shaped eyes that point straight upward, scanning the darkness above for the silhouettes of prey or the bioluminescent glow of jellies. For decades, scientists only saw dead specimens hauled up in nets, and the transparent head would collapse during the trip to the surface, leading to major confusion about how this fish actually looked when alive. It wasn't until deep-sea rovers captured video footage that researchers realized the eyes could rotate forward when the fish tilted to feed. The body itself is fairly ordinary for a deep-sea fish, dark and streamlined, but that head steals all the attention. Living between 2,000 and 2,600 feet down, the barrel eye has adapted to an environment where even the faintest light detection means the difference between eating and starving. Those tubular eyes are packed with light-sensitive cells, maximizing the fish's ability to spot food in near-total darkness. What researchers initially thought were eyes turned out to be olfactory organs, adding another layer of weirdness to this already bizarre anatomy. The transparent shield protects those sensitive eyes from the stinging cells of siphonophores, which the barrel eye steals food from in a clever act of deep-sea theft.
I'm going to ask you a simple question. Are you a naturally curious person? If you're watching, I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. This space is made for people like us. To ensure you're always part of this community and receive all our latest discoveries, you just need to do one thing: subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to stay connected with us. Okay, now that you're part of our Legion of the Curious, let's move on to the next item.
Number 11. Golden tortoise beetle. Walking through fields in the Americas, you might spot what looks like a tiny drop of liquid gold moving across a leaf, except this droplet has legs and knows exactly where it's going. The golden tortoise beetle measures barely a quarter-inch across, but what it lacks in size, it makes up for in sheer visual impact. That metallic golden shell isn't paint or a trick of light. It's caused by microscopic layers in the beetle's exoskeleton that reflect light in specific wavelengths, creating that unmistakable molten gold appearance. But here's where things get truly weird. This beetle can change color on command.
When threatened or during mating, it can shift from brilliant gold to a dull reddish brown by controlling moisture levels under its transparent outer shell. The transformation happens in real time, like watching a mood ring made of insect. Scientists discovered that the color change works through a system of fluid channels that either fill or drain beneath the cuticle, altering how light bounces off the layers underneath. This defense mechanism works because predators expect consistency. When something suddenly changes appearance mid-attack, it creates enough confusion for the beetle to escape. The larvae of these beetles are equally bizarre, carrying around their own feces and shed skins on a forked appendage like a disgusting umbrella. Adult beetles feed on morning glory and sweet potato plants, using their shiny appearance to possibly mimic water droplets, which predators typically ignore as inedible. Under a microscope, that golden surface reveals an architecture more complex than most human-engineered materials, with precisely spaced layers creating the optical effect through pure biological engineering.
Number 10. Sea pig. Deep on the ocean floor, thousands of feet below where sunlight gives up trying to penetrate, lives a creature that looks like someone tried to draw a pig from memory but only got halfway there. The sea pig waddles across the abyssal plains on tubular legs that stick out from its bloated, translucent body like badly attached pool noodles. These aren't actually pigs, obviously. They're sea cucumbers, but the resemblance is uncanny enough that the nickname stuck. Their bodies have this pinkish, almost see-through quality that reveals internal organs in a way that's both fascinating and slightly unsettling. Scientists know them as scotoplanes, and they congregate in groups on the seafloor, creating what looks like an underwater pig farm in the most alien environment on Earth. Those legs, which number anywhere from 5 to 7 pairs, work constantly to push the animal forward through thick mud. The front appendages aren't legs at all, but modified tube feet that work like vacuum attachments, sucking up organic debris and sediment. As the sea pig processes this mud through its digestive system, it extracts whatever nutrients it can find, mostly decayed matter that has drifted down from the surface world above. The whole feeding process is remarkably efficient considering the food scarcity at those depths. Their bodies can inflate or deflate depending on food availability, making them look even more bizarre when resources run low. What's particularly strange is their social behavior. Sea pigs tend to move in herds, following chemical trails to find areas where food has recently settled, creating temporary feeding grounds that shift with ocean currents.
Mexican mole lizard. Picture this. You're digging through dirt in Baja California, and suddenly you uncover what looks like a pink earthworm with tiny T-Rex arms. That's the Mexican mole lizard for you. And trust me, evolution had some wild ideas when designing this creature. Stretching about 9 inches from head to tail, this underground dweller sports a body so elongated and smooth that calling it a lizard feels almost wrong. The skin has this fleshy pink tone that makes it look more like raw chicken than a reptile. But here's where things get really weird. It only has 2 limbs, and they're both in the front. No back legs whatsoever. Those miniature front legs aren't just decorative either. They're packed with muscle and work like tiny excavators, helping this bizarre animal claw through compacted soil with surprising efficiency. The body segments give it an accordion-like appearance, with rings of scales that flex and compress as it moves through underground tunnels. Scientists classify it as an amphispanian, which is a group of reptiles specialized for subterranean life. But locals in Mexico have their own names for it, often mistaking it for a mutant worm. The head is wedge-shaped and hardened, perfect for ramming through dirt barriers. What makes this creature even stranger is how rarely people see it above ground. It spends almost its entire existence in darkness, hunting for insects and larvae in the soil. When it does surface, usually after heavy rains flood its tunnels, the sight can be genuinely startling because nothing about its appearance makes immediate sense to the human brain.
Number 8. Naked mole rat. Living in underground colonies beneath East African soil, crawls something that looks like a miniature walrus lost its way and forgot to grow fur. The naked mole rat has wrinkled pink skin that seems several sizes too large, hanging in folds that bunch up as the animal moves through tight tunnels. Those oversized front teeth dominate the face, protruding outside the lips in a way that looks almost comical, but serves a crucial purpose. The teeth work independently like chopsticks, digging through hard-packed soil while the lips seal behind them, preventing dirt from entering the mouth. This allows naked mole rats to excavate without constantly spitting out debris. What makes these creatures truly extraordinary isn't their appearance, but their biological superpowers. They show remarkable resistance to cancer, with scientists documenting almost zero tumor formation, even in laboratory conditions designed to induce it. The secret involves a specific type of sugar molecule that prevents cells from overcrowding and forming tumors. They also feel almost no pain on their skin due to the absence of a specific neurotransmitter, letting them navigate through abrasive soil tunnels without constant discomfort. Perhaps most bizarrely, naked mole rats live in colonies structured like insect societies, with a single breeding queen and a hierarchy of workers performing specific tasks. Non-breeding individuals are essentially sterile until the queen dies, at which point females compete violently for the breeding position. These rodents can survive up to 18 minutes without oxygen, using metabolic tricks that shift their cells to process fructose instead of glucose. They also resist aging in ways that defy mammalian norms, showing minimal decline in function even after decades of life.
Number 7. Purple frog. Buried beneath the soil in India's Western Ghats lives something that looks like someone inflated a plum until it grew legs and a tiny pointy nose. The purple frog spends 50 weeks underground every year, only surfacing during monsoon season to mate, which means most people living right above these creatures have no idea they exist. That bloated body isn't fat, it's an adaptation for an underground lifestyle, where streamlined shapes don't matter and bulk helps with digging. The skin has this purplish gray tone that makes it look perpetually bruised, and the texture is so smooth it almost appears slimy even when dry. What really sets this frog apart is that face. The head is unusually small compared to the body, and the snout comes to a point, like someone pinched the front of its face while the clay was still wet. Those tiny eyes sit on top of the head, barely visible, because underground vision isn't particularly useful anyway. The limbs are short and equipped with hardened pads, perfect for excavating through packed earth. This frog doesn't hunt above ground or catch flies like typical frogs. Instead, it uses that pointed snout to root through soil and termite tunnels, eating ants and termites directly from their nests. Scientists only discovered this species in 2003, despite it being relatively common in its range, because it lives such a secretive subterranean existence. When it does emerge during breeding season, males make loud calling sounds that echo through the forest, trying to attract females before the brief window for reproduction closes and everyone goes back underground for another year.
Thistledown velvet ant. Running across the ground in parts of North America, you might see what looks like a fuzzy piece of cotton candy that somehow learned to walk. The thistledown velvet ant fools almost everyone with its name, because it's not an ant at all. It's a wasp, and that fluffy appearance hides one of the most painful stings in the insect world. That dense coat of hair, usually in bright orange, red, or yellow, makes the insect look soft and harmless, like a tiny animate pom-pom. But those colors aren't for decoration. They're a warning system called aposematism, basically nature's way of saying, "Eat me and regret it." The female velvet ant, which is wingless and looks most like an ant, spends her time searching for the underground nests of bees and wasps. Once she finds one, she burrows inside and lays eggs on the host larvae, creating a gruesome scenario where her offspring will consume the host alive. Males have wings and look more traditionally wasp-like, but they're rarely seen because they spend most of their time flying and searching for females. When threatened, the female makes a squeaking sound by rubbing body parts together, adding another bizarre element to an already strange insect. The sting delivers pain so intense that one species earned the nickname cow killer, supposedly because the sting could drop a cow, though that's likely an exaggeration. The venom contains compounds that activate pain receptors with exceptional efficiency, and the pain can last for hours. Despite their dangerous reputation, these wasps are actually beneficial because they help control populations of other insects by parasitizing their young, creating a natural balance in the ecosystem. Number 5. Flying fish. The ocean surface explodes as something that should be swimming suddenly decides the air looks more appealing. Flying fish have taken the concept of escaping predators and turned it into an aerial show that defies expectations about what fish can do. Those pectoral fins aren't just oversized, they're engineered like aircraft wings, with rigid structures that catch air and generate lift. When a tuna or dolphin gets too close, the flying fish accelerates underwater using rapid tail movements, building speed before breaching the surface at angles that maximize flight potential. Once airborne, it spreads those wing fins and glides, sometimes covering distances exceeding 600 feet in a single flight. The tail remains in the water during the initial phase, vibrating at incredible speeds to provide additional thrust and extend the glide. Some species have enlarged pelvic fins as well, creating a four-winged configuration that increases stability and flight duration. These flights typically last around 45 seconds, though exceptional individuals have been recorded staying airborne for over a minute. The fish can also chain multiple flights together, touching down briefly to build speed with tail thrusts before launching again, creating a skipping pattern across the waves. This isn't clumsy flopping, it's controlled aerodynamic performance that rivals birds for efficiency. What makes this even more remarkable is that flying fish have basically no specialized breathing apparatus for air exposure. They're holding their breath the entire flight, making oxygen efficiency crucial for extended glides. Different species show variations in fin size and configuration, with tropical species generally having the largest and most developed flight structures.
Kakapo. New Zealand produced a parrot that gave up flying, grew to the size of a bowling ball, and decided that walking everywhere made more sense. The kakapo waddles through forest floors on thick legs, its wings basically decorative at this point, having lost the muscle mass and structure needed for flight. That mossy green plumage with yellow and black mottling creates camouflage so effective that these birds can stand motionless and become invisible against forest vegetation. The face is what really throws people off, though. It has this owl-like disc of feathers surrounding the beak, giving it facial features no other parrot possesses. Those whisker-like feathers around the face aren't just for show. They help the kakapo navigate in darkness, since this is the world's only nocturnal parrot. Weighing up to 9 pounds, these are the heaviest parrots on Earth, with males getting particularly chunky during breeding season. The kakapo's relationship with evolution is complicated, because New Zealand had no mammalian predators until humans showed up, meaning there was no evolutionary pressure to maintain flight. They developed a breeding system where males gather at traditional display grounds and make booming calls that can be heard for miles, trying to attract females who might wander by. These booming sounds, produced by inflating a chest sac, create some of the lowest frequency bird calls recorded. What makes this bird even stranger is its smell. Kakapos have a distinct musty sweet odor that scientists think might help them communicate, but it also makes them easy for introduced predators to track. Conservation efforts have brought these birds back from the edge of extinction, with every living kakapo now having a name and GPS tracker.
Fried egg jellyfish. Floating through Mediterranean waters and parts of the Atlantic comes something that looks exactly like someone dropped breakfast into the ocean and it came alive. The fried egg jellyfish sports a dome that resembles a perfectly cooked egg white, complete with a yellow-orange center that looks disturbingly like a yolk. This isn't some tiny creature either. The bell can reach 16 inches across, making it a substantial presence in the water column. That yolk-like structure in the middle is actually the jellyfish's reproductive organs and digestive cavity, while the clear outer ring is mostly water, held together by a thin layer of cells. Despite looking harmless and almost comical, this jellyfish is a functioning predator with tentacles that hang down like transparent ribbons, each loaded with stinging cells. Small fish and plankton that brush against those tentacles get paralyzed instantly, then drawn up toward the mouth located on the underside of the bell. The stinging cells, called nematocysts, work like microscopic harpoons that inject venom on contact. For humans, the sting is generally mild, causing some irritation, but nothing compared to more dangerous jellyfish species. What's particularly odd is how this jellyfish moves. It pulses its bell in a rhythm that looks almost lazy, pushing water beneath it to create forward momentum. Young crabs sometimes hitch rides on top of the bell, using the jellyfish as both transportation and protection from predators. The whole organism is about 95% water, meaning if you pulled one onto a beach, it would basically collapse into a puddle with very little solid matter remaining.
Number 2. Honduran white bat. Deep in Central American rainforests lives a bat that looks like someone shrunk a cloud and gave it wings.
The Honduran white bat has fur so purely white that it almost glows against the green jungle vegetation, making it one of the few bat species with such coloration. These tiny mammals, with wingspans barely reaching 4 inches, have pulled off an architectural feat that would impress any engineer. They don't live in caves or hollow trees like most bats. Instead, they modify large heliconia leaves by chewing through the veins in precise locations, causing the leaf to fold down and create a waterproof tent. Multiple bats roost together inside these leaf shelters, hanging in a row like tiny cotton balls suspended from the ceiling. The white fur serves a specific purpose beyond looking adorable. When sunlight filters through the green leaf, it casts a greenish tint on the white bats, helping them blend with their surroundings and avoid detection from predators. That bright yellow nose and ears provide contrast that scientists think might help with social recognition among colony members. These bats feed primarily on fruit, using their excellent sense of smell to locate ripe figs in the dense jungle. What's particularly clever about their leaf tent construction is that they choose leaves positioned to avoid rain runoff, ensuring their shelter stays dry even during tropical downpours. The tents last several days before the leaf dies, and the bats must construct a new one, meaning they're constantly engaged in this architectural process throughout their lives.
Number 1. Satanic leaf-tailed gecko. Madagascar's forests harbor a gecko so good at camouflage that you could stare directly at it and still not register its presence. The satanic leaf-tailed gecko has a tail that mimics a dead leaf with such precision that it includes notches, holes, and color variations that match decomposing foliage perfectly. The body follows the same pattern, with skin texture and coloration that blends seamlessly against bark and leaf litter. This gecko stays motionless for hours, becoming part of the forest backdrop while waiting for insects to wander within striking range. When prey gets close enough, the gecko moves with explosive speed, snapping up its meal before returning to complete stillness. The satanic part of its name comes from its defensive display. When threatened, it opens its mouth extremely wide, revealing a bright red interior that looks genuinely shocking against the dull brown body. The sudden color flash, combined with a loud hissing sound, usually convinces predators to look elsewhere for a meal. Those eyes are particularly unsettling up close, with vertical pupils and intricate patterns that enhance the gecko's ability to see in low light conditions. The tail doesn't just look like a leaf. It can be shed if grabbed by a predator, a defense mechanism common among geckos, but particularly effective here because the detached tail continues to look like a dead leaf. These geckos are entirely nocturnal, spending daylight hours pressed against trees where their camouflage renders them virtually invisible, then becoming active hunters once darkness falls, and their excellent night vision gives them an advantage over prey.
Still curious? Then don't stop now. The next mystery is already waiting for you. Just click the video on screen. I saved it just for you. See you there, curious one.